Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight's special features.
Well, a groundbreaking document out of the Vatican yesterday as Pope Francis releases his new paper on family entitled The Joy of Love, re-examining centuries-old Catholic beliefs on marriage. But is the Church ready for this? Joining me now to weigh in is Steve Skojec, publisher and executive director of OnePeterFive, and Monsignor Kieran Harrington, vicar of communications for the Diocese of Brooklyn. All right, I want to jump right into the joy of love here. Steve, I'll start with you first. How is this going to change the Church? Because the Pope is, in this document, is calling for priests to welcome irregular unions.
Well, irregular unions is sort of a code word for any kind of relationship that would have been considered adulterous or sinful in the past. We're seeing a lot of sort of creative language and looking for legal loopholes. People talk about whether the doctrine of the Church has been changed. The doctrine of the Church doesn't change, but the practical application of the doctrine can. And it's sort of like if you had a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit in a town and everybody goes 60 miles an hour through there and nobody enforces that, well, yeah, the law is still on the books, but if people aren't following the law, then that's the problem. And so I think what we're seeing in this document is an attempt to change behavior through pastoral application, saying to people, you know what, the things that we used to say are sinful, the things that we used to say are a problem, well, maybe we can find some justifications for those things.
So, Monsignor, how does this change things in your view? Because some see this as firmly breaking tradition in the Catholic Church and welcoming those that have been divorced or have these irregular unions. Others see this as opening the doors to those who have been scared away from attending the Catholic Church.
So absolutely not. The starting point here is a relationship with the person of Jesus Christ. This is what the Pope is saying. He's saying that essentially you have an experience of God's mercy, an experience of the love of Christ, and when you have the experience of the love of Christ, that then brings about a metanoia or a conversion. And so the starting point is not necessarily the moral conversion, as Steve is suggesting. The starting point is the experience of the love of Christ that then brings about a moral conversion in one's life.
You may hear something different, Steve, when it comes to conservative Catholics. When they view some of these changes happening, they are questioning the future of the Catholic religion in the Church.
Absolutely. This is the thing. We can debate all day whether or not, mercy is what's really being applied here. The problem is that mercy presupposes repentance. In order to be forgiven for something,
that's not
you
true.
have to be sorry. Yeah,
no,
it absolutely
Monsignor,
is true.
I want to give you a chance to respond to that.
That's not true. Mercy is a free gift. It's not merited. It's something that God gives us freely. Listen, there's no argument here that this is not a conservative Orthodox Pope. The person who rolls out the statement is Cardinal Schönborn. He was the editor of the Catechism of the Catholic Church. I'm sure, Steve, you don't think that the Catechism of the Catholic Church is a liberal document. The fact is, the Pope is saying the starting point is a relationship with the person of Jesus Christ. The starting point is not law. The law comes afterwards. The relationship with Christ is what's formative.
Monsignor, what is the reaction that you're seeing in general from the religious community, from the Catholic community, other priests and monsignors that you speak with? Are they sharing in thoughts with you?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I'm a kid who grows up in the 70s and 80s where the Church was going bananas, where everything was left open. There were pizza and beer masses. So my predisposition is for clarity. That's what Pope Benedict stressed, clarity. What Pope Francis is saying is we have to try a new direction to allow ourselves to go into muddied waters, the muddied circumstances of people's lives, in order for them to have an experience of Christ that could bring about a change in their life.
Right,
I think that's what most of us are thinking is going to happen here.
All right, things definitely changing at the Catholic Church, and thank you to both of you, Steve and Monsignor, for joining us. Great to get your perspectives.
OnePeterFive.